So I'm coming at you today from my Chromebook via the Screencastify extension. If you don't have the Screencastify extension, I highly suggest adding it to your Chrome account. It allows you to do screen recordings and just tab recordings and on any computer as long as you are logged into the account that's associated with the extension. So I wanted to show you a couple of device options that you have when you are working on a Chromebook. These settings are kind of a big deal because they relate to your physical experience. So I wanted to get those done as one of my first videos. So you need to go into settings to be able to change any settings. And you can do that by going down to the bottom right corner, clicking there, and you'll see that settings is one of your options. You can also access this via the normal settings, which is the 3 horizontal bars up in the upper right-hand corner. That's where you get to settings when you're on Chrome on any device. So I'm going to go down to settings. And what's different about the settings on a Chromebook as opposed to on another device is that it opens settings in a new window because it gives you a few settings that you can do for your particular device as opposed to the browser experience. If we look down at the third section, it is device. Here you have some options for changing some things specific to the device itself as opposed to the user on the Chrome account. So the first thing you can do is you can alter the touchpad speed. This is how fast your touchpad reacts to your moving your finger. It's default in the middle, and that's where I suggest keeping it, but it depends on your preferences. The other thing that is a pretty important setting are the touchpad settings. If I go to touchpad settings, I have a couple of options. First thing is enable tap to click. This means that I can click simply by tapping on the touchpad as opposed to physically pushing down on the button. So I have that enabled right now, and I clicked by tapping, and I disabled it. Again, that's kind of a personal preference for you. A lot of people like to use tap to click. It gives you a couple of different options and helps so you don't have to listen to it in recordings, as you guys have found from mine. The second option for touchpad has to do with scrolling. Traditional scrolling means if you push your fingers up, it goes up. If you push your fingers down, it goes down. That's how it would react if you were using the roller on a mouse. Australian scrolling is the opposite, where if you scroll down, it will go up. And it's similar to how your smartphone works with that with the touch screen. A lot of kids like to use Australian scrolling because that's what they're used to. For you, it's just whatever it is you prefer. I like traditional scrolling, so I'm going to keep it on that. The second thing that you can change has to do with the keyboard. If you look at your keyboard on a Chromebook, it has some special buttons. Those buttons are pretty cool. My favorite is refresh page. But you can alter a few of these. The first thing is the search button. The search button is located on the left-hand side of your keyboard, and it's in the middle. It has a little magnifying glass on it. What that does is it searches your apps that are installed with the Chrome account that you're logged in with. This is handy if you're used to it. However, it's where caps lock normally is, and a lot of people like to use it as caps lock. So you'll notice that next to search, right now I have it set to search. But if you click on that drop down, you have some options. You can turn it into a control button, an alt button. You can just turn it off. You can also make it caps lock. And again, that's something that you might want to think about doing if caps lock is something you use a lot. You can also change what the control button does as well as what the alt button does, and it has a few different options for each of those if you look at the drop downs. Again, it's just depending on what your preferences are. The other option you have for your keyboard is to use the top row keys. If you'll notice, they're all special keys: page forward, page back, refresh, make it full screen, show your multiple windows, and then adjusting the sound and the quality of the light quality of your screen. If you use function keys a lot, that means using the keys like F1, F2, F3. Again, depending on what particular things you're doing on the device, that may be something you want to do, or it may be something you just want to leave. You can also enable auto repeat for when you're typing on your keyboard and you want it to repeat quickly for you. But those are the keyboard settings that you have. There are some great keyboard shortcuts that you can check out by clicking there. It opens the keyboard shortcuts for you. And this gives you the option to learn some quick ways to get out of things or to use your keyboard more efficiently. So you can also change the language that your keyboard is set up with. It should be default to English, so you probably just want to keep that as it is. I'm going to say OK. The last device setting that you might want to think about doing are your display settings. If you go in your display settings, if you have something else attached to your Chromebook, it gives you the options for extended desktops and external displays. You might plug it into a monitor or a projector. You can also change your resolution, and you can change the orientation, which is kind of cool. For the most part, you're probably going to leave that alone, and touchpad settings are probably what you're going to use the most. So that's how to alter some of your physical settings on your Chromebook.